What's your favorite scary movie?
Welcome to 13 Degrees of Screams,
where we watch and dissect your favorite spooky movies.
I'm your host, Alex.
And Stephanie.
And this is a mostly horror podcast.
This season we watched movies that you suggested.
Stephanie.
Yeah.
Season 5.
Yay.
Out with the old and with the new.
Sorta.
Well, old season. New.
Oh, yeah.
Like season 4 is old and this is a new season.
Right. I thought you meant like old concept.
No.
Conceptualizing.
Yeah, we just completely revamped everything. No. Same thing.
No.
Although I will say this theme is a little different.
Yes.
Do you want to tell everyone what we did for our 5th season?
If you recall, in our recap episode, we explained that our 5th season, as a special little treat, is movies that you guys suggested. So this is like everybody's favorite.
Yeah, well, not everybody. But we picked 13 of like the most frequently requested, or
yes.
There was more, but maybe they'll make an appearance later. But we picked 13 of the ones that we were suggested.
Yeah. So somebody's favorite.
Yeah, somebody. They're all good. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm really happy with our selection.
Right. I'm excited about it.
Do you want to tell everyone our first movie?
It is Skinamarink.
Skinamarink. Although I will say, this one's a little... I know we just said movies that were suggested, but we did this one special.
Yes.
So we're doing Skinamarink, kind of a special request because we connected with the mom from the movie on TikTok.
Yeah, it was a surprise. We're engaging with a lot of actors, it seems, lately. So, yeah, I was surprised when she reached out and asked to do Skinamarink.
So here we are doing Skinamarink. So technically it was requested in a way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we reached out to her first. So I was like, could you listen to this? And she's like, but you got a movie. You got a movie to watch.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So this is more a prerequisite. So hopefully Jamie likes this episode. Mm-hmm. Although I will say, I've been wanting to watch Skinamarink. I haven't seen it. Spoiler alert before the podcast. Have you?
I saw commercials for it and thought it was eerie. And I remember it was going around on TikTok as like the scariest thing that ever happened. And I was like, oh.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, boo.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah. So I was worried. I wasn't sure what to expect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the trailer for this movie is one of the scariest trailers I think I've ever seen. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was going to get me.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah, I thought so.
Mm. It's a little creepy at times, yeah.
Yeah, my mom sent me the trailer out of the blue.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how I first heard about it, before even TikTok.
Thanks, Pam.
Yeah, thanks. She was like, oh my God. I'm like, what is this? So that's how I heard about Skinamarink before TikTok. Oops.
Oh, I did.
I do it, remember?
Oh, yeah, you just decide for us. Because I would never do it. That makes sense.
All right. So for our preseason ranking, we have this ranked on the scariness scale as a 6 out of 13. So most near the middle, a little bit below the middle. So not.
But also kind of saying like we don't believe the hype in a way.
A little bit. So yes, because I put it lower because I had done some research on the movie after I had initially found out, and I heard a lot of mixed opinions on it.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people saying it's really boring. Nothing happens. So I was like, well, how scary can it be then?
If nothing's happening.
Right. If people are saying nothing happens. So I'm like, well, based on the trailer, I would have put it way higher. But then I heard reviews on it that just
It was
were
like found flicks, I think, if you're...
Oh, yeah. I'm not talking about that. But...
Oh, okay. Sorry, never mind. Disregard.
No, I was watching and listening to reviews, and they were just not giving the film good reviews, really? Oh, my God.
I'm just going to silence my phone now.
I can't. So, in any case, I put it lower just because of things I heard before actually watching it.
Fair enough.
Did you like it?
It was different. Kind of gave me a Paranormal Activity vibe because of the odd perspectives and stuff like that, and it was just kind of like a grainy videotapey kind of feel. At one point we were watching it, actually, like we came over to your apartment to watch it.
Mhm.
And I was holding a drink and I was like, I'm just going to put this down in case I throw it. Because I was worried that eventually it would all have to build up to something and something would jump at us, but not really.
Yeah, any jump scare was pretty minimal. Like there were some like loud noise,
Yes.
but it didn't happen frequently or anything like
Right.
that.
The only thing I can think of is like when the hand comes out of the closet, maybe.
Oh yeah, that freaked me out. I will say that. So this movie isn't actually like found footage though. So if anyone knows nothing about it, which I don't see how you would have not heard about this movie at this point, it's not found footage. It's just the way it's filmed.
It just has that vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't mean to
Oh no, I was
mislead.
I was just clarifying because I didn't know if people would think like there was actually a camera involved, but it's not. It's considered analog horror. I don't know if you've ever heard of that term.
No.
Yeah,
I just watch movies for fun.
Yeah,
Alex knows all the technical terms.
Yeah, it's filmed. I don't know. You maybe see a face one time, and in that one time, the face is all messed up anyway. So you never actually see the characters really.
Right. Because at one point I was writing my notes and I was like, I guess eventually we see the demon's face. And then I was like, do we?
I don't think we do.
And I had to Google it and be like, demon's face from Skinamarink. And I was like, oh, that guy. Okay, I guess. I just didn't know at the time that I guess it was him.
Oh.
There's like a shot of like just a man with the no face.
No, I did not see that one time. Also, maybe it's because it was so dark.
Yeah,
what?
That also could be.
They showed it?
I guess.
Psych. On me, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I missed that. Apparently, you see the entity.
Apparently.
The entity.
Yeah, look it up if you want to see it, because you'll recognize it once you see it, like, but you probably won't. I don't think it was an obvious correlation that they were one and the same. I thought it was like maybe the dad or something, I guess, at the time.
Well, damn.
Yeah.
Interesting. I liked it overall. I will say I felt it was too long. We could have shaved a good 20 minutes. I would even watch an hour, 20-minute version of this movie. Although I think it would be even better shorter.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an hour and 40. And at some points, I'm just like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Let's move on a little bit.
Love what you guys are doing with the sofa arrangement. That looks cool. Can we go on now? Like,
although I didn't tell you this. So despite the movie itself not being super scary, that night I was doing the research because I sent you that video about like the meaning and some things we may have missed. I kept looking behind me. I was so freaked out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you probably shouldn't have done it the night of.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to go do some research because normally I'll watch the movie and just go on my computer and do stuff.
Oh, really? Oh,
Uh-huh.
I don't do that. I sit with it for a minute.
Oh, no. I was like, so I just do what I normally did, and I kept turning around. I was so freaked out. So while the movie itself didn't necessarily freak me out, the thought of it later and being alone on the computer with my back towards an open room.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It freaked me out. I was like, I need to stop tonight. I'll finish this later.
Actually, to be fair, when I do my notes, it's usually like I'm just laying in bed before I go to sleep or something like that. So usually when I have like a lot of them to write out because we record in batches, obviously, I'll just, write as much as I can. And then I'll be like, okay, getting too late. Time to go sleep. Yeah, but in this case, I was like, I need to do something else a little bit more happy, more cheery. And then I'll go to sleep because this is not the vibe. Look,
it's not it.
Yeah, no, it's not it.
Yeah, it does a great job at setting the atmosphere and tone to the point where afterwards I was not happy about being alone in the. Well, I wasn't even in the dark. The light was on.
Yeah,
but just being alone in an empty room.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is scary at times, is what we think we're getting at. But
it's like scary after the fact when you're like thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Like during it, I was like, this is fine. It's creepy. But afterwards, I'm like, I need to go to bed. I can't be in this room by myself. So.
Right. And I think it's definitely scarier in its subtlety, is more or less. It's not jump scares and lots of scary faces or too many traumatic things. It's just, ooh, that's creepy.
And it's always the picture in your head is scarier than what's actually happening.
Right.
Like I find when I watch movies, they show the creature, ghost, whatever it is. I'm like, like that wasn't what I was thinking. It's not really scary anymore. So this movie leaves a lot to your imagination. And the sound design was really creepy, in my opinion. The demonic voice and it telling the kids to do certain things. Mm-mm.
Not for you.
Not for me.
No.
Sound design is what gets me.
No.
Not necessarily the visuals.
Yeah. And also I swear we'll eventually get into like the background and plot and stuff.
We will.
It's also scary just because of how little these kids are too. Like
they're babies.
They are babies. Yeah.
Not okay. You don't do this to babies.
You don't do this to the babies.
No baby.
Yeah. Like, I don't care about like adults or anything. Like little kids and dogs and cats, like they're safe, okay?
Leave them out of this.
Yes.
Well, on that note, are you ready to dive into the movie background?
Yes, let's do it.
Skinamarink is a Canadian supernatural horror film released in 2022. It tells a story of two children who wake up in the middle of the night to find that their father is missing and strange things happening in their house, such as objects disappearing. The film was written and directed by Kyle Edward Ball, making his featured directorial debut. Before making Skinamarink, Ball ran a YouTube channel where he would upload videos based on nightmares shared by viewers. His short film Heck, released in 2020, served as a proof of concept for Skinamarink. The movie was filmed digitally in Ball's childhood home in Edmonton, Canada. So I know we kind of discussed whose house this was filmed in. It was his childhood.
Yeah, that's funny because when we were watching it too, like there was like a little caption like "Thank you to whatever family's house this was," and we were like, "Oh, I wonder if it was like one of the actors or something." But no, nope. Apparently his.
Yeah, and then Heck, I looked into that. It's basically a short version of Skinamarink.
Probably should have just done that.
You know, I don't think it's that long. So I feel like there was a middle ground here. We could have made it longer, not an hour and 40 minutes.
Right.
Skinamarink premiered at the 26th Fantasia Film Festival in Montreal on July 25th of 2022, and later screened at various other film festivals. Unfortunately, copies of the film leaked online, gaining popularity through social media platforms like Reddit, TikTok, and Twitter, where it received praise and word-of-mouth attention. The film received a theatrical release in the United States and Canada through IFC Midnight on January 13th of 2023. And I didn't think this got a theatrical release. For whatever reason, I thought it was straight to Shudder.
I didn't realize that. I think it just seemed like it came out so quickly that it must have been just a straight to streaming kind of situation. But yeah, I didn't realize it was in theaters either.
Unless it was like a select theater kind of situation.
Maybe.
Or I was just late to the game because...
That is true.
As far as...
I think it must have been confusing just like because of how much it leaked out and then when it was actually in theaters and then when it went to streaming and stuff like that, it must have been a confusing timeline for people that are just finding out about it and stuff.
Yeah. I thought it was straight to Shudder. Not that it matters, but I was convinced it was not in theaters. But look at that. It was. It was also made available on the horror streaming service Shudder on February 2nd. Despite having a budget of only $15,000, Skinamarink became a box office success, grossing $2 million, which is crazy. Also, I'm just curious what they spent $15,000 on. No shade, but...
No, I have no idea.
Marketing. It had to all go to marketing.
Well, since like we didn't realize it at the time, like we could kind of tell that stuff was older in the house and stuff, but we didn't know the exact time period, but it's supposed to be 1995.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe half of the cost was like buying stuff accurate to that time, like the toys and such, but because, you know, that stuff like retails for like on eBay for like $1 million.
$1 million.
For nostalgia.
Not $1 million.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
No more than 15,000.
Yes, obviously.
It all went to that
1,000 for one phone and
yeah. No, it all went to that tube TV. The movie felt
Probably.
older than the 90s though. It was like 80s, 70s even, in my opinion. But yeah, it takes place in 95. So I would have been 3 years old. I would have been around these kids' age.
I would have been 2.
Imagine that happening. No. Critics generally responded positively to the film, appreciating its exploration of childhood fears. However, the audience's response was more polarized, as I kind of mentioned earlier. On Rotten Tomatoes, Skinamarink holds a 71% approval rating based on 121 reviews, with an average rating of 6.2 out of 10. The website's consensus describes the film as more confounding than frightening, but acknowledges its ability to unsettle viewers who are willing to embrace the unique style. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 66 out of 100, indicating generally favorable reviews based on 25 critic reviews. Alrighty.
Yeah, it's just it's in my head. Are you ready to get into the plot?
I am, yes.
We focus on various shots of the interior of a house in 1995 and can only make out glimpses of the family members that inhabit it through a grainy grayish lens. We focus mainly on the children, 6-year-old Kaylee and 4-year-old Kevin, and see clips of their feet or the back of their head from time to time. We hear in the next room their father explaining to someone on the phone that Kevin fell down the stairs and hit his head while he was sleepwalking.
Freaking Kevin.
Yeah.
My dude, what a mess.
Yeah, Kevin needs some help.
Yeah.
The lighting shifts to give the impression that they went to the hospital and returned home at some point. I did not get this, but when I watched more videos about it online, people seem to think that, like, the flash of brighter light was them at the hospital, I guess.
Or was it the car, like, leaving?
Maybe.
And it was, like, headlights?
Yeah. I'm like, it's open to interpretation, and that's what mostly this plot is. So there could be clarification made some other way, but this is what I saw it as.
Yeah, this is what we see. Don't yell at us that we're doing the wrong thing.
We're trying. It's up for interpretation. You could watch it and just be like, they're in the same room for an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Honestly. In the middle of the night, the children wake up to find their father has disappeared and that the windows, doors, and other objects in their house are gradually vanishing.
I love the way they do it because it's just very clearly a cut, like door.
No door.
No door.
Yes.
And then door. No door.
No door.
It's like flipping on a switch.
Yes.
Door, no door. Door, no door. I just really like the simplicity because, like, I feel other movies would make a big deal out of it or make a disintegration or do something like special effects.
Yeah.
It's like blink and it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of the whole analog style. Just it's gone.
Yes. And they love that. They love doing it.
I love it too. I'm like, yes, do more
do
of
it
that.
again.
Do it again. This is great.
The siblings sleep in the living room watching cartoons of children floating off to dreamland or maybe even heaven.
Maybe.
We don't know. When they wake up, they find the house still dark, hear an odd thumping noise, and see a chair upside down on the ceiling. They don't really audibly freak out, or when they do, it seems delayed. But at one point, Kevin suggests that their dad went with their mom, and Kaylee says she does not want to talk about her.
Fuck mom.
Like that bitch.
Yeah, everything in this movie, one of the kids will say something, and it'll take a good 10 seconds for the other one to respond or react. Like,
or even when things freaky happen, like if I were 4 or 6, like I would run screaming from the room
I'd be crying.
Or constantly crying. And then these kids are like,
not even that. I don't even think they scream one time.
Not really. No, not a ton. Not a ton. And I would be nonstop screaming.
Okay, you be Kaylee. Okay, ready?
Uh-huh.
I'll be Kevin. Kay, what's happening?
I don't know. Or maybe that was longer, honestly.
Okay, yeah. But it's like that.
Yeah, basically. The toilet in the bathroom eventually disappears, forcing them to replace it with buckets and making Kevin too frightened to go. Kaylee is called upstairs by a mysterious voice in the darkness and sees a Barbie suspended on the ceiling by its hair. Again, she does not freak out.
Like, Barbie, not again. Like, this is a normal occurrence.
Right.
Where Barbies just stick to the ceiling by the hair.
When she reaches the bedroom, she sees her dad sitting on the bed, who instructs her to look under the bed. Seeing through Kaylee's eyes, we see nothing under there, but he asks her to look again. But still nothing seems to be there.
This part was freaky. I was expecting something.
I did not like this at all. I think that was when I was like, I'm going to throw this.
The anticipation, because you expect something to be under the bed. Not the first time, but you're like, okay, definitely the second time.
For sure.
And it's like, psych, no, there's nothing here.
Not really. No. And really, it's the stuff that's going on above the bed, really, that's like, oh, why would you have them do that? So when she looks up, her dad has disappeared, and her mom is sitting on the opposite side of the bed away from her. And she tells her slowly, like really slowly, that her father and her love Kaylee and Kevin very much, instructs her to close her eyes before vanishing and saying, someone is here.
That's freaky. That freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah. I was
Someone's
like,
here. That was so ominous.
I hate it.
Who the fuck is here? Mother?
Right.
You're not just going to disappear on me. She's like,
Right.
someone's here. And gone.
What do you
What do you mean someone's here? You can't just do that. Just be like, we love you very much. By the way, there's someone in the house you don't know.
You deal with it. Bye.
Yeah. And we hear like cracking of bones.
Oh, yeah. I
During
was
this
getting to
part?
that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
Go
she,
on.
Kaylee looks to the open closet where she hears her mother calling her name along with cries of pain and bones breaking. And we glimpse a hand gripping the door frame.
No.
No,
No.
absolutely not.
I don't even think everyone saw it initially because didn't we have to rewind it?
Yeah, it happened so quickly and it's just like cut away.
It's
Yeah.
so dark that the
Too.
hand is barely visible, but it's there.
Yeah. Everything that's freaky really is like mainly not very visible at all. So you kind of have to deduce like, are you looking at a head or?
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Who are you? You know that video?
Right.
That's what this whole movie is.
Yes. So we cut back to the living room where Kaylee has Kevin help her move the couch to block the hallway. But when they fall asleep, we can hear the voice call for Kaylee again. When Kevin wakes up next, Kaylee is gone. Toys and objects are suspended against a wall. And we were like, everybody's so creative.
Everyone's so creative. Yeah, earlier we didn't really mention, but they're just playing with a shit ton of Legos.
Yeah.
So-
And they're like, we kind of occasionally see toys being moved, but not like by the children. So we assume it's the entity doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, at one point he just suspends them all on the wall, like, look what I did.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, that's just weird.
Okay, thanks.
Are you afraid yet?
Yeah.
Kevin, look what I did to your toys. They're on the wall and they should not be there.
Kevin is 4 years old and in a house by himself that usually contains 3 other people. And you think the toys is what scares him?
I know. Fuck these toys. I'm scared to be alone in this house.
For how many days? Like,
We find out, and it is insane.
The voice calls to Kevin, forcing him into the basement where he sees Kaylee, who no longer has eyes or a mouth.
Bro,
Yeah, that was like, oh no.
why'd you do Kaylee like that?
Right.
Excuse me?
Mm.
Yeah, that was creepy. It's just because you see her sitting like Indian style.
Yeah, and you can sort of hear her talking, though. When he goes down there, she says something like, I feel strange. or
Mm-hmm. Maybe it was like right.
Right before it happened.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Ugh.
Ooh.
Just a mad ugh. Like, again, watching it wasn't like super freaky,
Mhm.
but just like
The
put
thought.
yourself in that scenario.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and that's the trouble too, like it being through the eyes of a child too. Like you think like, what would I think in this situation as like that little? Like, no, like absolutely not. I just pass out.
Yeah, I don't think I could. I don't think my body could handle it. I think I would just, pass out
Yeah,
or just sob uncontrollably.
yeah. I think I'd be dead in a day. I had asthma as a little kid too, so I'd just be like, goodbye. Like,
Oh no. Stephanie, don't go.
so the mysterious voice tells him it wants to play as some of the toys begin to disappear. A drawer opens in the kitchen and Kevin complies with the voice's command that he insert a knife into one of his eyes. And we're like, no, thank you.
Yeah, this part, like,
And you hear the
Mm.
sound.
it was like a utility knife
Mhm.
where you hear it clicking,
Yeah.
and the voice just so matter of factly is like, put it,
Yeah.
and he does. That is
I think
so
it was
messed
like he
up.
was forced, though. Like the way it happens, it's just like very.
Oh, yeah,
like
probably.
Obviously, he takes like a second to respond or whatever. He doesn't really say anything. But then we cut to the back of his head, kind of sitting in the hallway, and then you just hear like a.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wow.
Mm-hmm. Like, again, 4 years old. I think
Mhm.
that's the craziest part. Like, if this
Yeah.
happened to an adult, you'd be like,
Yeah, like you dumb. Why'd you do this?
yeah, why? But a 4-year-old, oh my God. That's the root of the terror, I feel.
Yeah. So Kevin calls 911 to tell them he was cut with a knife and feels sick. The operator tells him to be brave and stay on the line as someone will be there soon. But Kevin tells them the doors are gone. He then drops the phone and it turns into a chatter telephone toy.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you think he was actually talking to someone? Or it was all a
I think it was all just the demon thing.
false hope?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Which
Okay.
is just even more cruel in my opinion.
That's what I was leaning towards too, because it just
It just doesn't seem like there's any connection to the outside world here. So why in this moment
Right.
would he have it all of a sudden? Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, but I was just curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Did you think the same?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What else could it be?
Right.
Like, he wasn't talking to nobody. And the sad thing about that is the guy on the phone was so sweet and like...
Yeah, and he's like, it's okay, buddy. You're going to be all right. You're just going to hang in there, sport, and be brave and all that nice jazz. And yeah, then just to take that away from him.
Oh. Yep. That makes it even worse.
Mm-hmm. Kevin asks if the voice did it. It confirms and says that it can do anything. The voice reminds Kevin to obey it because Kaylee didn't listen. She wanted her parents, so it took her mouth away. And then it instructs Kevin to go upstairs.
I don't understand that part, because what did Kaylee not do?
It must have been the moment, like, when Kevin falls asleep in the midst of Kaylee disappearing. She must have followed the voice again when it called to her, and maybe it asked her to do the same thing, like stick a knife in her eye or do something, and she said she wanted her mommy.
Oh, okay.
That's what I assume, but we don't really... We spend so much time in their own perspective, it is weird that we don't have a scene of that.
Yeah, because from what I saw, she did everything it said. Like,
Yeah.
she went upstairs.
She complied.
She looked under the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Last we saw before she got her fucking life wrecked was the bones cracking and then the hand.
And granted, yeah, she runs out of the room and everything after, but that's like, she doesn't freak out. Like, she doesn't cry like, Mommy, Daddy, I want you to come back or anything.
Mm-hmm.
No.
She's like, I'm out.
Yeah,
like,
she just went downstairs. Like, what do you want? What do you want her to do?
Right. Maybe he was pissed that these kids aren't afraid.
Maybe.
It's like, they're not phased.
Right. Like the one household that does not scream and everything. I put Barbies on the ceiling for them.
Toys on the wall. The most terrifying thing I could do.
And nothing. Not a peep.
Now I gotta have them stab their eye out. Gotta take away this one's face.
Still nothing.
Still nothing.
So obviously the voice instructs Kevin to go upstairs. He finds himself on the ceiling and goes into a bedroom that becomes a void.
That was a cool shot because you're like floating away from the door.
Yeah, and it just gradually
and it just keeps going. And you're like, this is a big ass room.
Yeah.
No,
it's something more than that.
Yeah, he's on the ceiling now. Oh, that's fun.
Mm-hmm. A dollhouse is shown sitting on a pile of toys in a seemingly infinite hallway as text on the screen reads 572 days. And I was like, what? What you mean?
Record scratch. I'm like, this had to have been like a week.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It was 572 days. These children have aged
Lost
a whole
year of their lives.
A year and a half.
Yeah.
So Kevin's like 5.5 and Kaylee's 7?
Yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And then we see a female figure sitting on the bed, and her head slowly fades away, followed by the rest of her body.
That's Kaylee, I believe. I'm fairly
either
certain
the
it's
mom or Kaylee, but I'm guessing Kaylee.
I think it's Kaylee. It looked like Kaylee. It looked like a little girl.
Maybe.
I think it's Kaylee.
This whole last kind of 20-ish minutes, it's kind of like just cutting back and forth to places in the house, and it really confuses me, like, what we're exactly looking at until, like, we're like, oh, something's happening. We're not sure, but it is.
Yeah.
So photos are shown of people, except their heads are either missing or distorted. And this part got me. Kevin cries out as blood splatters on the floor, then disappears and splatters repeatedly in an infinite loop. So, like, we're given the impression that he's just being continuously tortured on a loop or killed on a loop.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And eventually, in the darkness, we hear him ask if he can watch something happy as he's told to go to sleep. A few times he asks the voice in the darkness for its name, but it doesn't answer.
Do you want to see what we actually see at the end? The face in the darkness, ever so slight?
I guess there's supposed to be a face at this point, and I think it was probably somewhere in between the woman fading away and maybe around the time Kevin was getting killed and stuff like that.
It was at the very end. That was the very last thing you see in the bedroom.
Okay. Yeah, it's just kind of like a blank man's face and just...
Yeah, it looks like a head, but you can't make out any features.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, again, watching the movie, I was like, oh, that's weird.
I just thought it was like another picture, like it was the dad or
Oh,
something.
no, it was in the room, I'm fairly certain.
Oh, okay. It was so hard to tell at this point.
So what I think, based on videos I saw too, that Kevin was in the room with that thing and it was just staring.
Yeah.
So it was the entity, I'm fairly certain. But it just stays on that face and you just barely see it for a long time. You think it's going to jump or something.
Right.
And it never does. And when we were watching the movie, it didn't affect me. But again, I was watching videos for research and that scene popped up. I couldn't watch it. I had to turn it off.
Really?
I literally just watched the movie.
Right.
I know it doesn't jump, but just watching it
just
was
unsettles
unsettling.
you. Yeah. No.
Like, I just saw this movie. Why is it freaking me out now on YouTube? I don't understand.
The more you sit with it, the more it's like, oh, I hated it. Like,
Not the movie,
like in like I hate what it did or anything. It's just like, oh, it was more scary than I really thought about it. I don't think you need to see it again because you can kind of piece together all of the momentous things or whatever that happened. But yeah, they all pile together and you're like, oh, it was kind of scary and fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah, if you just take out all the just shots of nothing for 10, 20 minutes at a time,
yeah,
you could condense it, and I feel like it'd just be so much stronger. I think you still need that towards the beginning to build
to establish
suspense, atmosphere. It's like turning the screw, you know?
Right.
But it was just a little overstayed its welcome a tad. But it was super effective after the fact. I'm like, I was fine watching this. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do this by myself.
Did you happen to see the theory though that like this is just Kevin in a coma?
I did see that.
And I was like, maybe that makes sense. I don't just say, but I felt like the atmosphere was still very weird beforehand. And we don't know if it's just because there's some sort of situation with the mom and the dad or if it's because it's always this way, kind of, not always, but you know, like the entity's already taken over kind of thing. So it's hard to say, like, whether or not there's no clear indicator, like, okay, it's starting now.
Right.
It could be starting from the very beginning. It could start technically an hour in. We wouldn't know.
I mean, I would say once the door disappears in front of their face, I think that's pretty concrete. Like, okay, it started now.
I guess so, yeah. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. My doors just disappear every once in a while. That's just normal.
Well, when you rearrange them, sometimes you need to move furniture. It just doesn't work with the floor plan.
We just move the door.
Yeah.
Now, the toys on the wall, I think that's a little out there. What do you prefer? Like, what theory do you like better? It being a coma or all this actually happened?
Well, in wanting the children to be safe, I hope it's just a coma kind of situation and Kevin can be saved from it. But I feel like it's the other. It's more
happening.
of like they're just stuck and it is what it is.
Oof.
Which I hate.
Yeah. What do you think? So, let me ask you this. The parents or the dad, because it seems like the mom's out of the picture, what you gather, or they're...
Yes. I assume when he made the phone call, he was talking to her.
Yeah.
But,
which means she wouldn't be home.
But I don't know. I realized some other people, and especially what Kaylee says, it makes it seem like they're separated, but I more or less got the impression that maybe she was just mad at her for something and maybe she was at work or something and the dad was just watching them.
Yeah. Well, this is besides the point I was trying to make. But the part where she says, the mom, quote unquote, the mom says, Daddy and I love you very much.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely like the divorce talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking. But my question to you was, so they're off into another dimension in theory. Do you think the dad now came home or is like, where the hell did my kids go? And he's living normally in the actual home now? Because it looks like it feels like they took the kids, the entity, into a different realm, meaning the kids are no longer in our world.
But maybe the parents could be?
Yeah, because like everyone else is obviously still living their life. So is the dad like, what the fuck happened to Kevin and Kaylee?
I wonder. I think it's hard to deduce that, though, because we don't know what the creature is really capable of. It says it can do anything. So does that mean it can create people? Or just like, do these people actually have to be there for him to actually do anything to them? So.
Oh, yeah, it's all speculation. So I'm just curious what you
would
think.
I assume, like his main target was the kids, so he, got them out of the way and did whatever he wanted to do to them to, freak them out, and then put his focus on the kids.
Mhm.
I don't think the family is necessarily separated by dimensions, just more or less separated by what's happening in their own home.
So, you think the dad's in there too, or just
somehow, or dead in a way, or
okay.
just able to be used whenever the demon needs them to freak out the kids
okay.
or something.
So when we actually see the parents, do you think that's actually the dad, just like kind of in a possessed state or something?
Yeah, either that or some sort of like vision of him or something like that the demon created. Like he's already killed him, so he has access to his form, I guess.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's reaching. I know, but the whole is reaching.
The whole thing is weird. In my mind, I thought he like whisked them away into a pocket dimension. So the dad is like living his life still, and the kids are just gone now.
Maybe. I feel like that would have been more of a possibility for me if we could have heard like if the kids woke up and heard their parents calling them or something like that. Like there was like breakthroughs from the other side trying to get through to them.
No, this pocket dimension is so far away from our world, you can't even can't even call in.
Right.
Not a possibility. Well, that's just my theory. I don't know.
I guess that would also lend to my coma theory too, but
yeah. Who knows? I like that it doesn't specifically tell you, because I like having these kind of discussions. Like, what do you think happened?
Right.
So I think it's not so weird that you can't connect the pieces. Like you know what's happening for the most part. There's a weird entity terrorizing these children, and it seems at the end it's looped, which is also, we didn't really talk about the cartoons, but it's also kind of following the journey of the children as well.
Right.
Especially the part where there's like a cartoon rabbit and it keeps disappearing
in front of a dog, and the dog looks shocked every time it comes back out of the hat.
And it's looping
back. Yeah.
So,
and it's the same when Kevin's getting tortured. And a question I did have for you, though, do you think that there's a way for them to escape it, like, and go back to their regular lives?
I don't think so. Like it's been 572 days. I think maybe there's a possibility, but these kids have no idea what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
They're 4 and 6, so I think maybe there's a way, but they're not. They probably don't even know what's going on. So I think maybe as an adult, which is maybe why this entity preys on children, because an adult maybe will escape.
Yeah.
I like to think there's a way out, but it's so hard to tell. I don't know.
Oh, you imagine if they grow up there and then eventually figure out something? Like,
what if they never grow up? What if they're just stuck?
Oh,
like it's a timeless.
Because they're just looping back and forth, so they're always that age. Oh no.
For eternity. No.
Ooh, I hate
the implications. Exactly. The implications of this movie. But it's definitely worth a watch. I don't know if I'd watch it again per se, but it was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Again,
Agreed.
A little too long. It is an experience. It's not like any movie you've really seen before. So
yeah.
I think you should watch it for sure.
Right. And it like again, watching it, you're like, it's not so bad. But then like the more you sit with it, you're like, oh, that's sad. I don't like that. Like,
I will say, towards the beginning when things started happening, I didn't get like, choked up per se, but I felt like really sad for these children.
Yeah.
So that it kind of hit me in a weird way, but it was more just like sadness and like, oh shit, these kids are about to go through it. So
yeah, I get it. Like I'm just constantly sad for them the whole time. Honestly.
They're so
like, couldn't we
sweet.
just make this about the parents or something?
I know.
Like,
and their voices are so like, they're so tiny.
Yeah.
And you're like, can we go home now?
Right.
Like, oh God.
Right. And just like to give you like a better idea of kids' ages and stuff like that too. Like Kaylee is at best like just getting out of kindergarten or whatever, like maybe going into first grade. And Kevin's not old enough to even be in school. So like imagine that like mental capacity.
It's not there.
And then all of this shit is happening to you.
Right. I couldn't handle that now, let alone a child.
Yeah, I said I would have died when I was a little kid. I would have died in this case at 30.
It's over.
I'd have just been like, okay, bye.
So, for the topic, I pulled some Reddit stories of scary things happening to people, either them when they were kids or their kids themselves, paranormal related.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready to listen to some of those?
Yeah. Creepy.
Okay. So our first story comes from Huffalumps and Woozles on Reddit is the username.
I already don't like where this is going.
So I'll preface this by saying none of these are like super like obviously not like Skinamarink level.
Yeah.
But these all seem very rooted in reality.
Okay.
So I'm willing to believe all this is real. So keep that in mind. So they write, not my child, but my brother. My grandparents had a guest room that was basically never used, just a bed and a dresser. Us grandkids wouldn't sleep in there because it was on the opposite side of the house as their bedroom, and we preferred the living room with the TV anyway. My brother, however, when he was 4, loved this guest room. He would go in there by himself and sit there and talk to himself. No one ever really cared that much, but one time my grandpa asked what he did in there. He said that he would talk to his friend John. She asked him what John looked like, and he described to a T my grandpa's brother who had died before we were born. Not just a generic haircut, clothes, and glasses he would wear, but also that he was missing a finger. John had lost a finger to a snapping turtle. My grandparents never talked about John because it was one of those family subjects that everyone just kind of didn't talk about. I had never even heard of John until years later, when my grandparents were telling the story to my parents. Another similar story at the same grandparents' house pertaining to me, but that I personally don't remember that I was told about the same time. My cousin and I were walking around the woods when we were like 7. There was a pond near there that we were walking to. Apparently, we saw a man who told us it was dangerous to walk by the pond and that we shouldn't be by it. So we just walked up back to the house and told our grandparents that we were told we shouldn't walk by the pond, so we just came back. My grandpa asked what the man looked like, and we supposedly described John again.
Oh, damn.
Spooky.
Well, I mean, it seems like their, great uncle was looking after them. It doesn't seem like he was negative. It was just creepy that he was interacting with them.
I know, right? Yeah, it wasn't like bad or anything.
No.
But just like, oh no. Oh no.
Oh no, oh no. With a name like Huffalumps and Woozles, I was thinking of that Winnie this Pooh special with the elephants on parade and stuff like that. That freaked me out as a kid.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I hated it.
Huffalumps and Woozles gave me the same vibe as the name Skinamarink. I'm like, it all seems like it kind of ties in together.
Yes.
Are you ready to hear the next story?
Yeah.
So this is by Fuzzy Bandits from Reddit. When my kid was 5 or 6, he used to complain about sleeping in the living room when visiting grandma. He said all the people walking around kept him up. He later clarified the people going up and down the stairs were keeping him up. There's stairs in the kitchen that are behind the door leading up to the attic. You have to slide a board out of the way to actually and fully go up into the attic, and it was really late at night, maybe early morning, so no one would have been walking up and down the kitchen attic stairs. There was also instances where my stepson had seen his granny, the deceased one, at her old house. When I was a teenager, I used to babysit my cousin Alyssa. She was little, maybe around 2, maybe a little older, old enough to say sentences. I was giving her a bath before bed when she looks out the bedroom into the hallway and gets a terrified look on her face and starts crying. At this moment, my aunt's Pomeranian starts going nuts as well, barking and growling into the hallway. The atmosphere in the room became uncomfortable and I started getting scared. I took her downstairs from the 3rd floor in the townhouse to try and calm her down. I asked her what was wrong, and she said something along the lines of, the man with the black eyes was there. When I continued to pry, she looked up at the 2nd floor stairs, her eyes getting big, and looks at me, bringing her finger up to her mouth and saying, shh, while shaking her head no.
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 No, thank you.
Now, I don't know about y'all, but I've seen enough horror movies to know this story won't end well. I immediately called my aunt and uncle, begging them to come home because this was one of the most unsettling things that has ever happened to me. I still to this day experience paranormal activity, which I blame upon my misuse of the Ouija board in grade school. PSA, don't use a Ouija board.
Obviously.
I know. That's the one thing I will never freaking do.
No, I'll never touch one.
Whether or not I believe it's...
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not testing it.
No.
Mm-mm. I don't need to put that out there. It's crazy to me that like Target sells Ouija boards.
Right.
When I worked there, I worked in electronics, which was buy the toys.
Mm-hmm.
And I was unboxing Ouija boards. I'm like, no, get these off of here.
No, Target, no.
Freaking like Hasbro.
Yes.
I'm like, stop it.
Like, it's a kid's toy company, but no. You need to know what you're doing. You're summoning the devil and stuff like that. Who knows?
I know. Men with black eyes.
Mm.
Scary. No. Mm-mm.
No.
Our next story comes from Barf Dexter. So that's a fun name. But they write, my son is 8 and isn't the type of kid who's ever been scared of the dark, being alone, etc. A few weeks ago, my husband told me he saw a ball roll out of the playroom. He didn't realize at first that no one was in there. He didn't say anything about it to our son. A few days later, my son came upstairs saying he felt something touching his leg. My significant other and I just kind of brushed it off. Kid's exaggerating, right? A few days later, we were out somewhere and we came home to my essential oil diffuser was on. Nobody had been there to turn it on. We were a little freaked out, but tried to not make a big deal. Now my son has been saying that something is touching him, once on his back and then repeatedly poking his elbow. He's saying he's scared. Who wouldn't be? I try not to play into it too much and explain that sometimes our minds play tricks on us and there's nothing to be afraid of in our house. Nobody has ever said anything about ghosts before all this, so it's not like he's repeating things he's heard. So, just a smaller things, nothing like super crazy in there.
Ooh, okay.
And then we have one more that I found from Mystery Lady on Reddit. When my daughter was around 8 years old, she twice saw the apparition of a tall man wearing a cowboy hat in our apartment. One time, he was standing in the hallway with a woman and a child, all of them dressed in old-fashioned clothes. Another time, she saw him lying beside me in bed.
Nope.
No. Yeah, this is the creepiest one in my opinion. That time, his eyes were glowing bright red.
Absolutely not. Goodbye.
I would have left.
Goodbye. That place is his now.
Yeah. I'll leave. You're fine. She and I never said anything to the landlord who lived downstairs because we weren't sure how he would react. One day, I decided to test the waters by nonchalantly asking the landlord if he had ever seen anything strange. He said he had once seen a man come up through the door that led to the basement. It was one of those doors that closed flush with the floor, walk across the kitchen, and pass right through the back door. I asked him to describe the apparition, and he said it was a tall man wearing a cowboy hat.
Okay.
Just no comment?
No comment. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
None of this.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always that theory. I don't know if it's a theory. I guess it's a theory. There's no way to really say that kids could see paranormal things more easily.
Yeah. Not specifically this one, but the one before with the kid feeling like things are touching him. That could be really anything, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure.
Like it could just be like something on his clothes or like a bug or anything. The ball rolling is weird, but could be wind, could be, they forgot and left the diffuser on kind of thing. It's
right.
not like
I know
a
some of those are
like, oh no. The cowboy hat thing, absolutely not. Like you need someone holy in there blessing that shit or whatever. Like yeah.
Get it out of here.
Get it out of here. And hope it's not attached to you directly.
I know, right? But I like these stories because, again, they're nothing crazy, which makes me believe that they're real. Because, like people make stuff up. They really embellish and throw stuff on there. Like, that's not real. That didn't happen. Don't lie. So those are just some creepy ones that I found on Reddit.
Okay.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show and listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, giving us a 5-star rating is super helpful, and we always appreciate it.
You can find us on social media using 13 Degrees of Screams.
This has been 13 Degrees of Screams, and we will see you next week.
Skinamarink dinky doo, skinamarink doo.
Got you.
Yes.